Okay, welcome back. My Let's Play of Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker on the PC. It has been a couple days since I've recorded. Mostly due to the login issues that the game has been having. Despite trying hours and hours straight to get in, I can't really ever get in until very late at night. 1 a.m. Because, yeah, I mean, there's queues, but then, very often, the game will just error out before you get to the queue. You'll be in the queue for 5, 10, 15, 20, hour and a half, and then it'll error out. Bumping you back to the start of the queue, and just on and on and on. It's pretty rough. It's pretty rough going. And now the expansion actually launches in full for everyone tomorrow. So I don't know how it's gonna go. The time that I have been on, however, I actually spent leveling up my Gunbreaker. Up to level, well, we're 80, we just did 81. Yeah, I don't know. Part of it was that I was just not that enamored with Sage, otherwise I would have just spent more effort leveling that up. But I was like, you know, maybe healers are going to be kind of in surplus as we play through the main story. You know, maybe when I want to go into a dungeon and in a video, the queues are going to be 20 minutes. I don't know. Whereas tanks are probably going to be good. So, yeah, we're going to give it a try. I'm not fully committed. We'll do the first dungeon as a tank. And if that really just, I don't care for it for whatever reason, we'll just switch back to Astrologian. Anyways, let us continue the story. I don't know if this is where... This is not where I'm supposed to be. Where am I supposed to be? Up here? Up here. Not here. Okay, why isn't it on the map? Oh, because it's not... What the... So it was in there. You son of a bitch. Oh, it's inside. Oh, yeah. Okay. I gotcha. I gotcha. Trial. Let's do it. Hitting the books. An unsettling change has come over Charlian, but together we will divine the underlying cause for the forum's callousness. As I mentioned before, however, questioning the counselors directly is a fruitless endeavor. They seem to have already come to a consensus as to what and how little they are willing to divulge. Which is why I began scouring Charlian's archive of historical records for any hint of a connection to the final days. Suffice it to say that progress has been slow. There are only so many dusty pages one can skim in a day. But now that I have this band of willing reinforcements, the search should proceed all the swifter. Let us reconvene outside Numenon, shall we? Exit the annex to the right, and you'll find the archives on the western edge of the woods. Numenon. That sounds like a Digimon if I've ever heard of one. Actually, it could be Nomenon. No. Is there no Nomenon. That music, though, so good. Guy's name is Beavis. Okay. What the heck? There's just a Beavis. There's no Butthead. I guess that would be a little immersion breaking. My directions were easy enough to follow, I hope. In any case, you stand now before the doors of Nomenon, Sharlayan's grandest collection of books and tomes. This building is actually only an entrance, and one of many at that. The archives of Nomenon extend deep beneath the surface, like the roots of a tree. The vast halls of the great Goobel Library pale in comparison to Nomenon's endless maze of subterranean chambers. Any citizen of Sharlayan is free to enter and peruse its shelves. Well, most of its shelves. Only Archons are afforded access to certain restricted vaults. I have dispatched Ishtola and Raha to investigate those. Meanwhile, Alize and Alphino will help me continue my search through the stacks open to the general public. Your status presents more of a problem. As a non-citizen, you are only permitted to browse the first floor here at the entrance. Even so, there should be a number of books which touch upon Sharlayan history or foreign policy. Your task will be to find and study the relevant publications. I promise you, a working knowledge of those subjects will make it far easier to spot the sort of clues we're looking for. Let us be about it, shall we? I've told the others to meet us at the stone benches over there once they've found some promising tomes. Happy reading. Yeah, this is thrilling stuff. At least we get that music. Story of Sharlayan. Long, long ago, on an island in the northern sea, there lived a Rogadin man by the name of Nunkref. Nunkref was a student of astrology, and he divined that a flood of terrifying proportions would soon sweep across the lands of Eorzea. So it was that he built a gigantic ship, assembled a crew, and set sail for that imperiled realm. The flood arrived as foretold, and to their horror, the strangely churning waters drove the people towards the ocean. It was there, however, that Nunkref's crew hauled them aboard his ark, but the danger had not passed. A towering wave approached, threatening to smash the vessel to pieces. With only moments to spare, Nunkref wove a mighty spell of teleportation and shifted the entire ship to safety atop Abalathia's spine. Refugees from the surrounding regions huddled there alongside them, but it was not long before disputes over the dwindling supply of food led to violence and bloodshed. Saddened by the sight, Nunkref gathered to him his crew and his grateful passengers and abandoned the ark to those reddened peaks. They journeyed to the coast where they built a new ship, intent upon returning to the northern seas. They landed on the beach of an island and settled upon that very spot. That settlement prospered and grew, and in time it became the city of Sharlayan we live in to this day. See, again, if I was making a video on Sharlayan, that would be pretty crucial. Roads of old the colony. I'm not going to read all of these out loud. Yep. Okay. Study the ethereal sea. Oh, so a colony in Eorzea that they started calling Sharlayan. Emporium. So this is Idleshire they're talking about. Voice of a growing city. Civic policy decided at the Ecclesia for public forum. Long debates. Sharlayan would transition to a new form of governance led by a body of 99 members, chosen from amongst their peers. Okay, that's relevant. I guess. I don't know if that's anything we didn't already know. Forever 20 summers. There's no way this is relevant. You're forever 20 summers young. This is just nonsense. Yeah, yeah. Stewards of Wisdom. Archon Yunkrep bore witness to the madness and savagery of men brought to the brink of despair. Renounce the ways of war and pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason. Yeah, so they're like geniocracy. You've gained a fundamental understanding of Charlene history and the foundation of the Forum. Good. Let's get out of this stuffy library. Sorry, were you waiting long? I wanted to make sure I'd borrowed at least a few promising volumes. Alphino and Kryl should also be along shortly. I was delayed in similar fashion. As far as I could see, no titles in the Archon stacks mentioned the final days specifically, so we have no choice but to start with the tangentially relevant tomes, if they are even that. At present, the plan is to skim through as quickly as we dare and share our discoveries as we make them. It would have been nice to invite everyone to the estate. Plenty of comfortable places to read and a ready supply of hot tea. Oh, I was always quite fond of reading outside, but it's not about the little pleasures, is it? You miss your home. It's been difficult. After our arrival, we managed to speak with one of the family servants and ask how things were. It seems our dear father has instructed the staff that even if Alphino and I were to return to Charlian, we were not to be allowed across the threshold. A harsh measure indeed. I hope that our efforts to understand his position, and that of the Forum, will perhaps lead to a reconciliation. We'll mend this rift one day, I'm certain of it. And what of you, Graha? Have you been to visit your family, or do they not live here in the city? Ah, well, my situation is also somewhat complicated. I was raised in Charlian, yes, but I was born rather further away. In the southern reaches of Ilsabard, in fact. For generations, my people have dwelt in Corvos, the coastal region opposite the island of Thavnair. The Alligans founded a city in that fertile land, and by ship brought in the subjugated tribes of the Mikote to serve as laborers. Of course, the massive earthquakes of the Fourth Umbral Calamity brought an end to the Empire's reign, and when the Fifth Calamity froze the seas solid, many of the tribes still living in Corvos braved the journey back to Eorzea. My ancestors, however, chose to remain, that they might prevent the remnants of Allagan technology from being misused. Isn't Corvos under Garlean rule? For the past 50 years, yes. Some semblance of local culture remains, as is the case for most imperial provinces, but Garlemald renamed the region Locus Amonis. Among Us? When I was a boy, a nearby town came under the jurisdiction of an illustrious imperial family, the nobles of House Darnus. House Darnus demonstrated a singular interest in Allagan civilization, and so my tribe was forced to consider a plan of action. For some time already, voices had been raised in favor of abandoning our ancient customs. After all, the Allagan eye no longer passed to our eldest children as reliably as it once had. Fear of discovery eventually tipped the scales, and the decision was made to bury our ties to the knowledge and traditions of Allag. As the last child born with the Allagan eye, I was given over to the custody of friends and the students of Baldessian, who had me registered as a Charlian citizen. I never even considered. Forgive me, it was an unkind question. Even Thancred was taken in by Archon Louis Sois, was he not? Stories of adopted waifs and rescued orphans are more common among Charlians than you might think. Yet, regardless of our origins, we are all provided with an equal opportunity to learn, and with sufficient perspicacity. We outsiders can even earn the vaunted title of Archon. It is exactly why I have such love for this country, and why I wish to remain a nation of which its citizens can be proud. Here, here. Another good reason to get to the bottom of the Forum's stubbornness, aside from the trifling matter of our impending doom. Excuse us while we try to make some headway into these books, Mangg. More company should be arriving any moment now. Alright, I wait again. It's 6:30 a.m. We have returned with our selections. Although I must say, the pickings were quite slim indeed. Mistress Kryl has already flicked through every history book devoted to disasters, and more than a few which barely made mention of them. As such, we will be looking into research papers on the umbral calamities, as well as articles written by prominent Forum members. Perhaps their knowledge of the final days comes from an unexpected source. Speaking of which, might I ask you a few questions related to the final days? I'm the only one here who didn't witness the events of Amuro firsthand, and fear I may be overlooking critical details. My thanks. Now, where to begin? First things first, what kind of phenomena did the ancients encounter as the final days drew nigh? A complete destabilization of creation magic. Yes, the unfolding catastrophe wrought havoc on all manner of life. The chaos extended to the ancients themselves, causing their powers of creation to spiral out of control. Fear and despair manifested in terrible, tangible fashion. Meteors raining from the sky, fire erupting from the ground, cats and indescribable abominations prowling the streets. That more or less aligns with my understanding. If only the arts of creation had survived until the present day, we might have had something substantial to analyze. To the best of our knowledge, however, those techniques were not preserved or passed on. Ishtola surmises that the closest known magic is that of the summoning rituals promulgated by the Asians. Was there aught else of note which heralded the approach of the final days? The entire star was engulfed by disaster all at once. I think you may be misremembering. As I recall, 'twas more of a gradual spread. The Amrotines spoke of a keening sound that rose from the land itself just before a region was visited by catastrophe. We never did hear this sound ourselves, of course, but thrust as we were into the midst of the madness. So the ground was crying out, you say? To be considered the harbinger of doom, it must have been quite distinctive, and probably quite loud. I'll have to speak with one of Nomenon's Mammoths and ask after any books which make mention of such a sound. Last but not least, would you describe how the ancients sought to quell this unprecedented calamity? What definitive action did they take? Oh god, this is like a lore test. They summoned Hydaelyn. Fuck! It's because when I'm just doing the Let's Play and playing, it all just sort of goes right over my head. I believe it was Zodiac who was summoned in response to the final days. Many sacrificed themselves to bring him into being, with Elidibus serving as his heart. We do not know exactly how Zodiac brought salvation to the star, only that by his godlike will were the laws of nature set aright. Then, once the balance was redressed, the ancients offered up a further sacrifice to heal the ravages of the final days. Lives sprouted anew, and it was these fledgling souls they intended to render unto Zodiac, a trade that would have allowed them to resurrect the shades of loved ones absorbed by the primal. Or might have, had Venat and her fellows not manifested their opposition in the form of Heidelin. Thank you, both of you, for the detailed review. I feel much more confident now in my understanding of events. With all that freshly in mind, it does make me wonder what the Telophoroi truly mean when they speak of bringing back the final days. We've seen what they're doing with those towers of theirs. Is forcing people to summon primals a kind of catalyst? Are they attempting to mirror the conditions caused by unstable creation magics? Or are they simply using the final days as a figure of speech? A convenient metaphor for the scale of destruction they plan to unleash? But this is all just pointless conjecture at this stage. Let us return our attention to the forum, shall we? We should keep an eye out for Ishtola, but 'tis time we began studying these research papers. Oh, well, let me just wait again. Visual novel activated. I'm the last, am I? Well, my extended search of the Archon stacks produced one or two possibly useful books. But I wouldn't get your hopes up. If you recall, Urianger learned of the source's reflections from the Garen oracles. For its potential to cause panic and confusion, that tome was deemed apocrypha and sealed away in the Great Google Library. 'Tis even less likely that knowledge of the unsundered world, not to mention the horrors of the final days, would be left sitting on a shelf for any curious scholar to find. It stands to reason that my colleagues, be they archons or counselors, should perforce be largely ignorant of the subject. Yet when you confronted Master Fortunal with knowledge of the Telophoroi and their machinations, he scoffed at the suggestion that they posed a threat. He seemed adamant that the Forum would know if the final days were truly upon us. Which only supports the conclusion that whatever privileged wisdom is guiding the Forum's behavior, it has been kept secret from the rest of the nation. Not that I mean to excuse myself from reading duty. Whether they contain mention of the final days or no, these books could yet hold something of value. You weren't thinking of leaving, were you? There's plenty of work for everyone. I'm a gunbreaker now, I ain't no nerd. You labor for what feels like an age, as Ishtola's research assistant. Oh dear, you look exhausted. But what about your studies? Were you able to find any books on the subjects I mentioned? Then the day was well spent. Should you wish to read them again, a mammoth at the referent desk will point you in the right direction. For the moment, though, I suggest you take a well-deserved rest. We might be occupied with our research for quite some time. Oh, we get shoes. We get them shoes, boy! Yeah, give me those shoes. Oh, I already have better shoes. I bought on the auction house. Never mind. Big waste. Seat at the last stand. Ready for a tea break, Mangg? I know I am. Honestly, my neck and shoulders are going to calcify if I don't stretch my legs and walk around for a bit. You know the last stand down in the harbor, don't you? Come and meet me near the outside tables, and I'll treat you to their coffee. It's quite good. Alright. Little date with Alize, sounds good. Sounds good to me. But, you know, we got good visuals, good music, just a nice, peaceful video. Very chill. Chances are we won't even do any combat. As busy as ever, I see. How very Charlian that no other gourmet cafe has sprung up to compete for customers. Actually, this crowd gives me an idea. Before we place an order, why don't we ask a few questions and gauge the mood of the city? I'm interested to hear what the average citizen has to say about the Talaferoi. We might even learn something new. Worth a try, don't you think? Alright, let's ask Pirandier. What is it? Can a man not enjoy a moment of private respite? If you're looking to share a table, then I respectfully request you look elsewhere. You misunderstand, sir. We were simply wondering if you knew of the Talaferoi. These enemies of peace have promised an end to all we hold dear, and... Wait, you're that House Levelurker, aren't you? This man with you is obviously a foreigner. Ugh. I had heard you were disowned for helping outsiders indulge their barbaric whims, and here you are giving truth to the rumor. I'll thank you to leave me be. I've naught to say to the likes of you. Well, I must apologize. 'Twas foolish of me to expect an ounce of civility from one so enlightened. Come, Mangg. Well, that's a good start. Kildoise. Yes, I don't believe I've had the pleasure. Pray excuse the interruption, but we were hoping you might share your thoughts on the Talaferoi and their unconscionable plans. My goodness, if it isn't the young Miss Leveilleur. My apologies, but I work in the offices of the Forum, and if word reached Master Fortunal that I was helping you... I see. We're sorry to have bothered you. Great. This is going real good. Dick on. Welcome, sir. What can I offer you today? Wait, is that Mistress Alize I see there? My word, how long has it been? Far too long. Meet Dickon, the owner of the Last Stand. I used to frequent his cafe on occasion in between lessons at the studium. That seems like an age ago now. I remember hearing that you and Master Alphino had set sail for Eorzea, but then you never came back. Lately there's been gossip about your father disowning the pair of you. Everything all right at home? It's complicated, and I hadn't expected complete strangers to be so familiar with our situation quite so quickly. Everyone has an opinion, it seems. Well, it is House Leveilleur. No matter how discreet Master Fortunal may have been, news of your family's doings never stays secret for long. Things being what they are, what brings you back to the city now of all times? We have questions, and only Charlian has the answer. Tell me, Master Dickon, have you heard anything about an apocalypse called the Final Days? What, like the end of the world? Nothing like that, I'm afraid. That's what you're here to find? Information on this apocalypse? Yes, whatever we can learn. Unfortunately, your patrons appear to be unwilling to speak with me. I wish there was more I could do to help. But maybe there is. You're a visitor to Charlian, aren't you? Then few will know your face. We should be able to pass you off as a server with none the wiser. We just finished preparing a few orders. Strike up some friendly conversation while you're setting down the food, and you might just get the answers you're looking for. Not a bad idea. I hate to ask, but what do you think? That's the spirit. Pay attention now, and I'll explain what each of these dishes need to go. Tea set is for the chatty group sitting by the water's edge. Omelette is for one of our regulars, a Highlander by the name of Gisla. She's sitting at an outside table with a friend of hers. Behind them, you should see a Makote gentleman. He ordered the oven-baked lobster. Got all that? If you're not sure, just ask and I'll explain again. Good luck. I wasn't really thinking about it. Okay, T was for chatty group somewhere. Yeah, it's just what I want. Like, when I go to Chili's, for the waiter to be like, alright, here's your Coke, and, hey, what are your thoughts on the fucking apocalypse? You know anything about, some, just any apocalypses that are coming up? You have any thoughts? Here's a tea set. The Talafa who? I'm sorry, I've never heard of them or their final days. My friends and I are somewhat uninformed when it comes to current events. Now, if you wanted to hear about ritual arcane practices of the 6th Astral Era, common or esoteric, then I'd be happy to talk your ear off. We'll go with omelet. Ah, finally. 2468, let's dig in, no time to waste. What? Tlofferoy? Ah, yes. I remember seeing the name in the latest Gazette. That and some grand claim about the end of days. Same old senseless warmongering. When will these fools grow tired of spilling each other's blood? Best stay out of it, I say. The Forum made the right choice, and I fully support our decision to remain neutral. Urbane banter with a smile. At last, the oven-baked lobster is mine. You have no idea how long I've scrimped and saved and suffered to afford this heavenly dish. The final days. This is the first I've heard of it. Although that would explain why my friend has been rushed off his feet. It must be a busy time to be a gleaner. A gleaner. You don't know what a gleaner is? They're collectors of a sort. Travel the world procuring things that we haven't got here in Charlian. Priceless books, unusual live specimens, and so forth. So named for those folk who trail after the reapers in the fields, picking up every grain which was missed. Aye, by all accounts, gleaning is a most meticulous and demanding profession. If these Telopheroi make good on their audacious threats, then many uncatalogued rarities could be lost forever. Why else would the gleaners be buzzing about in such a frenzy? Watch the harbor and you'll see what I mean. They're carting loads in from the docks all day. It's never been this hectic before. Not like this. I think we have a lead. I guess. Any trouble with the customers? Were you able to get anyone talking? Interesting. They seem unaware of the final days, aside from whatever vague news the gazettes are printing. Even Dickon had nothing to offer, and he's the best source of gossip in the city. If the Forum does have secret knowledge, then they've done an impressive job of ensuring no one whispers it in the wrong ear. In any case, thank you for playing the part so well. Here, that cup of coffee I promised. But let's enjoy our drinks somewhere else, shall we? Maybe behind the peristyle, away from the gossips and their wagging tongues. Yeah, so far we've read a few books and served some food at a restaurant. High stakes at the start of an expansion. Yes, this should do nicely. Out of the wind and out of sight.
When our father disowned us, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It wasn't until much later that his words began to sink in, that I began to feel the weight of what it meant. Do you remember when the decision was made to come to Sharlayan? Graham said that the Forum was determined to keep us in the dark, and that Father's venomous performance was part of that strategy, to keep us at arm's length. Perhaps it was. Father argued with Grandfather on many occasions, but never with such dismissive contempt. And when he demanded what justifies the sacrifices we make in war, I honestly didn't know what to say. Neither did Alpha know, I know, but never for one moment did I believe we had made the wrong choice. So all I could do was fume silently. It was only afterwards that I realized how childish I had been, how being stubborn and self-righteous must run in the family. If I could have just mustered a civil response, then things might have turned out differently. They must be ferrying goods to Labyrinthos. A vast complex beneath the island. Sharlayan is famous for archiving knowledge from around the world. Well, that knowledge is not preserved exclusively in dusty tomes and desiccated samples. Our living library, comprised of all manner of flora and fauna, is housed and studied within that underground facility. Still, that did seem to be an unusually large shipment. When I lived here, it was rare to even see such cargo transported by boat.
Yeah, they're building a spaceship.
Wait! Didn't you hear something in the last stand about the gleaners coming and going more than usual? Well, I think they're the ones we saw manning those boats. And gleaners answer to the Forum.
Yeah, they're building a spaceship.
If the appearance of the Telophoroi prompted this sudden burst of activity, then Labyrinthos may hold a clue as to what the Forum is planning.
Building a spaceship! Alright. Labyrinthine descent. We should tell the others what we've learned about the Gleaners. Go on ahead to Nomenon, and I'll join you in a moment. Master Dickon will want his cups back. Dickon, these nuts. Okay, there's probably a faster way to do this. The Studium. El Studium. Whoops. Welcome back, Mangg. Been for a walk and cleared your head, have you? Not exactly. We did some impromptu investigating and turned up information on the Gleaners. It makes sense. The Gleaners take their requests directly from institutions and bureaucrats, but as you say, they ultimately answer to the Forum. A sudden and significant increase in Gleaner traffic and in cargo certainly gives the impression of an overarching plan being put into motion. Let us see what theory we can build from the facts. As Ishtola observed earlier, Nomenon's archives appear to contain no information concerning the final days. Coupled with what Mangg and Alizé learned at the Last Stand, we can be reasonably sure that most Sharlayans know nothing of that particular period of ancient history. Yet my father and his colleagues are not only familiar with the final days, but are also somehow certain that the destruction being perpetrated by the Telophoroi is wholly unlike these apocalyptic events. Moreover, the Forum claims to be so occupied by a duty of such pressing importance that they saw fit to unanimously deny Eorzea's request for aid. Now the Gleaners, official agents of the state, have been mobilized on an unprecedented scale. I do not think it's a stretch to conclude that the Gleaners' recent activities are in service to the Forum's secret events. In which case, our next course of action seems obvious. We visit Labyrinthos and assess the situation for ourselves, and if we're lucky, the Gleaners will be far more receptive to our questions. Anything would be better than burying my head in another dusty book. That's what Gunbreaker Mangg says. I understand not everyone is the studious type. Consider this a welcome change of pace, then. As for myself, there are a few more subjects I should like to research. I may join you later, but feel free to leave behind your borrowed books and be on your way. I'll see to it that each is returned to its proper place. That would be a great help. Thank you, Raha. Let's head down the stairs over there, and I'll show you where the entrance is. Labyrinthos! Ready? Labyrinthos is not too far from here, but you may find the path a bit disorienting. I'll take the lead, so stay close. Okay, I'm following. I'm going. Do it. Do it now. Do it. Do it. Are you serious? Oh my god. A brisk walk? I walk faster than that in real life. And I don't walk fast. What the this is the fat cat walks faster than you. Look at the fat cat go. This is outrageous. Why did they do this? Why did they make him? How do you walk actually? I forgot. There's a button to like actually walk. Oh, now she's going. Oh shit. Now she's fucking burning rubber. All right, all that shit talking for no reason. Damn. Yeah? Go. Yeah? This looks good. This looks good. Here we are. Through this door and down the stairs. You did remember to attune to the shard back there, didn't you? It'll make your life much easier if you need to come back in a hurry. Otherwise, we should keep moving. Yeah, I thought I had, but she made me second guess it. And now I don't think I ever did. Okay, maybe I did. I must have, otherwise I would have done the attuning thing. Damn it, Alize! I wonder how many people have named their kids, their daughter Alize. I mean, it's kind of a pretty name. And you could just go by Allie. I mean, plenty of people do that. It's also pretty nerdy. But I would name my daughter, like, Trillion, so that's pretty nerdy. We're all here now, yes? I've taken the liberty of securing permission for our group's descent. Right, everyone onto the lift and down we go. Alize is better than Ishtola. Ain't nobody out here naming their kid Ishtola.
Deep beneath the scholar's city shines a false sun within a fabricated sky. In any age exist those who consider the floor an extension of their bookshelves, and this vault's architects surely belonged to that special breed. If the stack grows too high, start a new one. If no room remains, then make more rooms. A simple solution at first, and then bit by bit, a profound transformation. Knowledge buried beneath knowledge, a growing, creeping labyrinth from which there is no escape.
Not what you expected. I must admit, the artifice is very convincing. But I assure you that we are beneath Sharlayan itself. The breeze you feel, the flowing waters you hear, all created by the hand of man.
The island is volcanic, you see, and once upon a time this great hollow must have been a reservoir for magma. It was discovered some 400 years ago, at which point it was repurposed as a storage facility for scrolls and samples and such. Renovations have continued, with nigh on no interruption to this day, with the lower levels still undergoing expansion.
Aren't those people gleaners?
Aye, judging by their dress. They are said to work alone as a rule, but 'twould seem that rule is being enthusiastically broken today. It may be as you suspected, but they are engaged in a task apart from the norm.
Let's spread out and get some answers then. Ugh. Did you call to me just now?
Did you want me to?
No. How odd. I must be a bit dizzy from the descent. I'll be fine, I'm sure. Let's get to work, shall we?
See, they're learning. They could have just made this like some big drab cave. But they're like, nah, fuck that. No one is interested in looking at that. Let's do it better. Dobbin. You want to know what I'm doing? Hauling books and ore, fauna. If it needs hauling, I haul it. Every decade or so, they take stock in Labyrinthos. You know, sort and tidy up the inventory. Never seen an operation like this before, though. They just did one a few summers ago, even. And with no warning at all, this mess gets dropped in our laps. Orders from on high. Damned if I know the reason. Could be they're changing the layout, eh? Preparing for the next big expansion. Sure. Let me think. The Rhea seeds should be item 1058, cumin seeds 1059, snurmelberry 1060, or were they 1061? Ugh, my head feels like it's stuffed with moko grass. Why more loads to take out than carry in? Why do all this at once and risk mixing it up? What if someone mistakes the Korthan carrots for the Gurabanian carrots? What then? Spaceship. That's why. You here to help or give me more headaches? Because you don't have the look of a gleaner, and I'm in no mood for idle chatter. One of my colleagues was so exhausted he took a tumble and crashed into a pile of crates. Now I have a pack of marmots running loose. Any luck, Mangg? What tales did the gleaners have to tell? Here, I wrote it all down. So, this grand operation began without warning. And for every item they bring in, they're sending more inventory somewhere else. That would explain the haggard faces I've been seeing. We were right. The Forum is definitely up to something. And they're turning Labyrinthos upside down in the process. Spaceship! We would do well to learn more of what specifically the Gleaners are being tasked to do, as well as who has tasked them to do it. If you're game, Mangg, I have an idea. Yeah? Didn't one of the Gleaners you questioned say something about escaped marmots? Perhaps if you were to help him capture said creatures, he might be inclined toward a more friendly and enlightening conversation. In the meantime, I will turn my charms upon this Gleaner here. We can compare notes afterwards. Happy hunting. Great. You wish to help me find the marmots? I have nothing suitable to pay you for your services, but if you're offering out of the goodness of your heart, I'd welcome the assistance. The name is Aaronville, friend. Specialist in the collection of live specimens. That said, the capture of these Nagsian marmots is a trial I've no desire to repeat. Grizzled mice, they call them. For a mercy, there are no other marmot species on this tier at present, so there should be no mistaking our literal fugitives. If you happen to catch any, stuff them in this sack. Gently, of course. Where to begin, you wonder? I've not seen any scampering around here, so we'll need to widen our search into the surrounding forest. Be on your guard. There are beasts out there that won't hesitate to prey on a marmot. Or you. Why? I'll search the trees to the west. The eastern part of the forest is all yours. Good luck. Why do they have a forest down here with wild monsters that you can just walk into? What the fuck? Why is this here? What sense does it make? Oh, I can mount at least. Why am I not riding my motorcycle? That's the whole point. That's the whole point. Alright, we're gun breaking. I'm sure I've explained Gunbreaker before. Well, that's pretty good. It's, you know, it's a tank class. It's not complicated. You've got your basic attack routine. You've got all your big defensive cooldowns. Their big defensive cooldown is Super Bolide, which puts you at 1 HP but makes you impervious to most attacks for 8 seconds. 10 seconds. Yeah, they've got some instant hits. They've got a big dot they can slap on every 30 seconds. Their sort of core mechanic for offense is that when you complete the third part of your normal combo, you get a cartridge. And you can store up to 2 cartridges at once. And you spend cartridges to do a few different things. There's a big AoE blast you can do when you're with a cartridge. There's a big single target hit right there you can do with a cartridge. But the primary thing is this combo here, where you do attack, then you get an instant follow-up, do another attack, instant follow-up, attack, instant follow-up. And that's off of 1 cartridge, and it's a lot of damage. So you always want to use that every cooldown. So you want to have a cartridge ready. But other than that, yeah, pretty simplistic shit. Fucking marmots. So I don't know why I like settled on Gunbreaker to level up to 80. Of the 4, I don't know which one's my favorite. I've spent the least amount of time with Warrior. Maybe I should have leveled that up. Paladin's pretty good. Dark Knight's pretty good. Got him. I wish I, like, liked playing DPS more. I mean, part of the reason is that for the queues, we don't get into that. We don't need to bother with it. But I don't know. I always feel just so useless as a DPS. Like, it's not an important role. It's a dime a dozen role. How did you fare? I tracked down 3 of the pack, which leaves 1 unaccounted for. Here you go. Ah, there's the odd armored out. Wait here a moment while I put our friends in a holding cage. I mean, DPS is necessary, I know, but it's like playing Overwatch. Like, everyone picks DPS. You know, that's why I'd gravitate towards tanks and healers, because it's like, no one else is going to do it. It's a job that's got to be done. Thankfully, the marmots seem to be unharmed. They've held up well in isolation, but it's much too soon to release them into the habitat. It's a good thing we were able to recapture them so swiftly. You have my thanks. Who tasked you to capture them in the first place? Why, the authority in charge of Labyrinthos, now and in perpetuity. The same officials who've had us working day and night of late. The honorable members of the Forum. Who else? Suitable for consumption and easy to breed. Those are the 2 conditions I was given for the stock I was instructed to procure. I don't know what the Forum has planned for these creatures, but at the very least, I doubt they'll be served for dinner today or tomorrow. There you are, Mangg. Is this the Gleaner you mentioned? The one who was looking for lost marmots? Interesting company you keep, friend. Who are you folk, anyway? I am Cryo, the students of Baldessian. These others are my associates. Truth be told, the Forum's decisions of late have not sat entirely well with us. That is why we made the descent into Labyrinthos. We hoped that by seeing those decisions put into action, we might fully understand their reasoning. Wise and practical. Never hurts to try and gain a broader perspective, does it? Anyway, duty calls. Other animals to capture and enclosures to empty. Once again, I'm sorry that I can't offer you more for your services. Did you learn anything new from your friend there? They're eating them. They're eating them. So, we've confirmed that the order for this ambitious operation did indeed come directly from the Forum. However, the Gleaners have not been informed of its purpose. I'd say that fits with everything we've heard thus far. We also discovered when the operation was begun, the Forum contacted the Gleaners' guild ship and put their people to this great work some 4 days after the Tlafroi made their chilling declaration. As seasoned travelers, the Gleaners keep abreast of news from every corner of the world out of necessity. Thus am I inclined to trust that their calendar of events is accurate. Altogether, it gives the distinct impression that this undertaking was a sudden and unexpected development. Yet I find it hard to believe that such a comprehensive restructuring of Labyrinthos and its archives could have been planned in so brief a window. Nay, this plan was long in the making. They were but awaiting the right time to put it into effect. And the Tlafroi's declaration was what set it all in motion? It seems likely, but let us not leap to conclusions just yet. For the moment, I suggest we conduct a wider investigation of Labyrinthos. The more facilities we visit, the more pieces of the puzzle we stand to find. In that case, how about we head to the Archeon? From there, we can reach the lower... Oh, shit, Cryle. No, Cryle. Cryle, what's wrong? I'm fine, truly. The sudden descent has left me with a bit of headache, that's all. Nothing that will stop me from soldiering on. Let's be about it, then. At least allow me to take the lead. I'm fairly certain I remember the way to the Archeon. We follow the path east, through the forest where you were chasing after that mouse, or marmot, was it? Anyway, 'tis the trolls you need to watch out for. Yeah, I mean, it's just like... Much as I love this game, and the story, the dialogue has always been just overwritten. And that's like, you know, now that I've done the story videos of summarization. Good God, I mean, you can summarize like every section of dialogue into 1 to 3 sentences. And you get like the complete gist of it. They really just like repeat a lot of the same stuff and things like that. Behold, the Archeon. As Nomenon serves as Charlene's literary archive, so does this structure house the city's wealth of material data. The architecture, too, is similar. This building, you see, is merely the upper entrance, an access point to the vaults carved into the cliffside itself. Within those vast rooms are stored countless samples and specimens, as well as the detailed records which describe them. In a manner of speaking, the Archeon contains a physical history of Charlene's unwavering dedication to the accumulation of knowledge. let's snag this etherite. We can end it there. Good, 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 good. So I think we are coming up on the first dungeon fairly soon. Perhaps the next video. I'm not sure, but we'll see. My name is Mangg. Game watching has been Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. See you fine folks in the next part.